Hello YouTubers and welcome aboard. I am Noob Flyboy X and welcome back to F1 2018 Career Mode. You joined me in Germany after we've reduced the difficulty back down another 5% to 85% AI, as the 90% in England was just a bit too much for me. Here we are setting our first lap in Q1, not bad. We're going to improve a little bit later on though, improve by about 0.2 it looks like as we come through the final corner. You'll notice also that the sky is starting to cloud up. There is rain forecast here for the end, or rather for the end of Q2, if we can get there. And with that lap in P13, we actually do get through Q1. Strangely, well maybe not strangely, Lance Stroll's still on the bottom. We've lost Gasly, Van Dorn, a couple of the other slower performing cars. And here now in the beginning of Q2 though, we can see the rain has started to come in already. It's not heavy just yet, but as we go across the line to set our first lap in Q2, there we go, we're 2 seconds already, almost 3 seconds off of Perez, who set the fastest time. That has us down in 5th. I abort the lap I was going to try to do then, because it just kept raining and I was already, more than 2 seconds down. Oddly enough, though, that's going to be good enough, because here we have Nico Hülkenberg down in 15th. He's going to try to be getting through, but on intermediate tires like he is, there's no way. So my lap, despite being 2 seconds off the pace, is going to be good enough. And in Q2 we lose such heavy hitters as Daniel Ricciardo, Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Kimi Räikkönen. All out in Q2 because they went out at the wrong time and didn't get in a fast lap. Here now, at the beginning of Q3, the rain has already passed, but the track is still very wet. So we're on intermediates for our first lap. There we go. That's put us in second for the time being, but the track will dry out, and I waited too long to get out. The session actually ended as I was heading through the final corner before I could get across the line, so it's P10 for the race.
There's nowhere at all I'd rather be today than here at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. We have an incredibly competitive field this year, which means we should be in for a treat. And judging by the sea of people filling the grandstands, there's a fair-sized chunk of Germany that agrees with me. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Alonso, Perez, Kevin Magnussen, and Leclerc. Grosjean, Vettel, Iceman, and Daniel Ricciardo. Hamilton, Ocon, they've taken a grid penalty. Valtteri Bottas, and Räikkönen, Hülkenberg, Van Dorn, Pierre Gasly, and Brendan Hartley. Stroll and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
Well, it ought to be easier than last year because it's a dry weather race this time. Going for a two-stop strategy necessitated by starting on the softest compound tire there that we got through in Q2 on. But here we go to 5 red lights next to Sebastian Vettel, the home hero, and away we go. Behind Romain Grosjean there and Daniel Ricciardo in 10th. Promoted up 1 place, of course, because of the grid penalty. And here we go around through the first corner. We're offline a little bit, but it's not nearly as bad as it was last year when we had a safety car come out by this point. Here we go through the second couple corners, still sticking very wide, hoping to avoid contact with anyone. Oh, I slide across the track a little bit just in front of Ricciardo. I'm lucky not to take his front wing off. But there we go, up into rich revs for the long parabolica, not quite straight away. Not quite the isn't straight of the Grand Tour. But here we go into the braking zone. Vettel's been caught behind a bunch of other slower cars, so we slide up the inside and now we're immediately behind Romain Grosjean. Staying close to him, heading into the stadium section, or the first stadium section I think, there we go. Hard on the brakes, and Grosjean also gets caught up behind some slower cars, so we're able to make the move on him as well. There's heading already toward the end of the first lap here. We just have the actual stadium section this time to go. The Mercedes-Benz grandstand, we've slotted in behind Fernando Alonso and Charles Leclerc. Coming now onto lap 2 on the parabolica, again using the straight line speed and the slipstream from that McLaren in front of us. Am I going to send it late? No, not this time. It's a little bit too far back there. Vettel has made progress behind me as well, taking out Grosjean, and now he's behind me looking to be a threat as well. I'm close enough to Alonso, though, that I'm hoping to get past him before Vettel is a major threat. I think about it there, but not quite. I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious about my moves this time. The more I increase the difficulty of the AI, the better fighters they're going to be. We also have an option to change strategy here on lap 3. Jeff is suggesting we come in a lap earlier, and I say, you know what, that's a good idea. Going to get us out of the traffic. Hopefully it means we'll be clear so we can set a good lap time once we come out. And already it's on to lap 4 where we can get our pit stop done. Get off these ultra soft tires, which do wear very, very quickly. Off go the ultras and on go the softs, rather. Here we go, and there go some cars out beyond us, or outside the pit lane, and get past us. So we are in last place at the moment, but we are in clear air. Coming through on lap 5 now. Lance is the only one ahead of us, really. We've passed up some other cars who are now in the pits as well. We're to come out. Looks like fighting with Charles Leclerc here. Hopefully make a move into this corner here. And there we go. Make a dive for the apex, and he's got to leave me room there. Using my warmed up soft tires to my advantage there. He's on the softs as well, but of course mine are a lap older. I've had them on long enough to warm them up. On lap 7, here we go. Passing up some more people in the pits up to 16th. Kevin Magnussen out just behind us and Sebastian Vettel in front. He's actually made an overcut work fairly well here, but now he's caught up behind Stroll and Alonso, who are both slower cars on this circuit. On the end of that lap, though, I have a bad run through the final corner and have a bump with Kevin Magnussen, who's tried to slide up my inside there. He's made that move work fairly well. There's a scrap going on in front of me. I'd like to take advantage of that, but I'm going to have to get past Magnussen first. We've got DRS down the second straight here. Hard on the brakes. Slide up the inside of him. Nearly think about going for a move on Alonso as well, but I didn't think I had the car controllability. A little later, though, Charles Leclerc has come out of nowhere from behind Magnussen. There he is up my inside. Fighting with him, go a little over the corner, over the curbs there. Not really a whole lot of way I can fight there. I didn't have the grip, so I'm going to let him have that one for now. Well, we'll keep fighting. Because not long after that, he's caught up to Stroll and Alonso again. Vettel's already made his way through and up past Stoffel Van Dorn, who's the next McLaren up the road. But these two are going to slow Leclerc down, so I've got the pace to catch him. Hopefully make a move here. There we go, they've bunched up again, just like on lap 1. Slide up the inside of Leclerc like he did to me earlier. But he's still there fighting with me. He's got better grip than I did. A little wide. We're right there fighting with each other. His front wing's alongside, but he has the inside for this corner here. And I go around Lance for good measure, who had defended the inside, but that's not a good move there. Outside line on that corner is much faster. On lap 11, we're on the tail of Fernando Alonso into the Parabolica. Leclerc still very close to me. He's looking to make his moves stick today. Looking to prove his mettle here as he, again, moves from my inside as we head toward the hairpin this time. You can see his front wing there. He's got a wheel ahead, but on the outside, I've got a bit better acceleration. I'm fighting to be on track here. I don't want to have my wheels over in the grass where they're not going to get me any grip. Inside of that corner, and just like with Stroll, that inside line is not the best place to go on that corner. So there we go, we've got that position covered off. Leclerc trying to stick close though. We're off on another strategy here on lap 12 as we're trying to make the move on Van Dorn. Hard on the brakes there. His tires are starting to wear out by this point. I don't think he's stopped yet. So there we go, we easily make the move. Now that we're onto a bit of a clean part of the track, or a clear part of the track, look at the strategy. Jeff just wants me to come in a couple laps earlier, but that means that my tires going forward will be older when I'm trying to make some more overtakes later on, because I know I'll need to make some later on. Here we are on lap 16 though. We've finally caught up to the back of Daniel Ricciardo, but we're up into 10th place, which is the last of the points paying positions. Points are what I want here. Hartley will dive into the pits though later in lap 16 as we head toward the end here. Nico Hülkenberg now pressuring me from behind. Up into 9th, but right on that lap Jeff tells me that we're close to the pit window, so we're going to be pitting again soon. I do want to pass up Ricciardo before we make that second stop though. Here we go through onto the Parabolica again. Not so much in his slipstream, but rich revs and DRS open. Now into the slipstream for that little bit of extra kick as we head right into the braking zone. We fly in there up the inside and we block off the apex so Ricciardo can't really accelerate as early as I'm sure he'd want to. That's opened him up to Nico Hülkenberg, who's also made an opportunistic move on him. Ricciardo now down to 10th because of that. Coming out of our second pit stop now on lap 20. We're down to 13th, but only down to 13th. Brandon Hartley and the Toro Rosso just in front of us. We are still, I think, not quite as good on paper as that Toro Rosso, but we are still better in a straight line. I know for a fact we still have the best engine in the field. It's just our aero and mainly our chassis that's letting us down. But here we go, like we made the move on Ricciardo. Here we go on Hartley. in the slipstream into the braking zone, flying through there and cover off that apex. He tries to get some better acceleration there. He's actually making it work better than Ricardo did now as we come down towards this gentle corner here. But again, inside line, not the place to be. So we've made that stick and we are up to 12th. So we're looking to continue our attack. Unfortunately though, there's some bad news. Jessica pointed out to me, even though I'd already noticed by this point.
A mechanical issue means you've lost one of the gears. Say again, you have lost access to one of the gears.
I've lost 4th gear on lap 21. I think I lost it actually on lap 20 earlier. So we're not really in an optimal position to keep fighting for positions here, but I've got to make it work anyway. Here we go on the tail of Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber. DRS in his slipstream as usual, down our favorite overtaking opportunity at the Parabolica. And again, we're going to go to the inside here. Ericsson sees me coming and tries to cover it off, but he doesn't go in far enough. So again, we're able to fly up the inside there and cover off any kind of counterattack by taking the apex there. Up next is the Toro Rosso of Pierre Gasly. I was going to say Hartley, but we already passed him. Gasly, though, is having a little bit of pace here, despite the fact that he's on some pretty old tires by this point, and they are the mediums, which are the hardest compound available on this circuit. You're going to have to see if I can catch up to him here. It's going to be a bit of a trick here. Going to have to just stay consistent behind him. That's been proving a little bit difficult, though. Even on the new tires, it's a little bit more slick than I'd want, but even so, we're making it work well enough. Just have to stay consistent enough to close the gap to that Toro Rosso, and by lap 26, on the front straightaway, we've caught him enough to be in the DRS. So there we go, into the first corner, not quite there. Into the second corner, I'm thinking I can make the move this time. There we go, we can see the acceleration difference and the grip difference that even though I've been sliding around a little bit, that the soft tires are giving me. And with DRS, we're easily up past him. The problem is now we've gone into the next detection zone ahead, so Gasly's got DRS now. We're going to see if he can put it to good use. I'm not worried too much. I don't flick it into rich revs and into the braking zone, and we've got him pretty easily. There we go, and that is us up into the final points-paying position. Carlos Sainz in the Renault up next, but it's a long way to get to him and Daniel Ricciardo, who are fighting up in front of us. But we work our way through the laps from there. On lap 34, we are at the end of the Grand Prix, and Lance Stroll is actually the next car directly in front of us, about to be lapped by me, lapped by several others already. He's way out of the points. We are just barely in the points, but that's a decent result after last race.
Nice work, you did well today. I think the boss will be happy with that one.
And now it's time to wind down and celebrate after that fantastic Grand Prix. Here they come, your top three, out onto the podium.
So Lewis Hamilton will win the German Grand Prix for Mercedes, so the home team coming home very well. The home driver, though, Sebastian Vettel, nowhere to be seen on the podium. It's his teammate Kimi Räikkönen who will instead take second ahead of Max Verstappen. Despite this, though, Vettel will actually gain ground in the Drivers' Championship. He is currently leading after Britain, and like I said, is extending his lead now because of this finish ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, who has come home only 8th, Vettel in 5th. So that's a good result, but not for Red Bull, because they've actually lost ground in Constructors' Championship as well, given the 2nd and 5th place for Ferrari. So they've got some work to do if they want to keep that lead up and want to take the lead back in the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen, despite losing out 2 positions from his pole position, is doing very well, hopefully making it 1 and 2 in the Constructors for Red Bull. 1 and 2 in the Drivers, rather, that will add to the Constructors. But Hungary is next, a track where we did fairly well last year. Hopefully we can do well again. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.